Importance of aiding digestion in older adults, and in fact all of us, cannot be overemphasized, because if digestion is slowed down, weight gain comes, and with the onset of weight gain comes diseases. Yes, diseases like diabetes, as mentioned earlier. And in the part 1 of this video, I already shared with us some of the top spices that we should be consuming or keeping around us to help to speed up digestion, to help support healthy digestion, kill off some of the bacteria. Some of the digestion that are slowed down, some are caused by some pathogens, viruses, some bacterial activities, some fungal activities that makes the stomach not able to produce digestive or acid for digestion as much as it should. And most of these viruses, most of these fungi are aided by the presence of sugar. And so most of the spices I mentioned in the part 1 of this very video helps to reduce blood sugar, because sugar is also part of the problem. And so when we come across some foods that we love, some of us tend to overdo it. We consume it in excess. Yes, you heard me. And so the excess sometimes begins to create problems. And it is these problems that most of us call diseases. And if not well managed, they could lead to stroke. They could lead to heart attack. They could lead to other complications. And that is why we must have most of these spices and seeds at home. You can also take some of these foods that I'm going to mention now before your meal to help to aid digestion, not to allow the food to stay too long in the stomach, because the longer it stays, the more likely it's going to turn to fat, become fat, be converted to fat. And so we have talked about the importance of resting. I need to emphasize that we need to take a little rest. This one, money cannot buy it for us. Nobody can do it. Medication cannot do it. Take a little rest before eating. Some of us are guilty of this one, including. And so when you do not rest, the stomach is weakened to digest food. And so we shouldn't rush to eat. We can wait, rest a little, and then the stomach will be able to produce acid and prepare for the digestion. And in case you have eaten before that, you can also rest. Knowing that you had not rested well, after the food, you give the body time to rest. Because you can't cheat our bodies. They are very, very smart. And so one of the foods you should be including, I said before, I mentioned the black pepper. You need to include foods like cinnamon. It helps to lower sugar too. It helps your body also to produce acid for digestion. It's one of the foods that helps to aid and speed up digestion, and thereby preventing weight gain. It's tips. Remember, we're talking about tips to prevent weight gain. Weight gain, if you don't deal with it, if you don't fight the fat is going to fight you. And that's exactly what we're saying. You don't have to continue to to consume and allow the fat to accumulate. There are other foods also that you can take, like alligator pepper. It's quite hot. Most of them are hot foods. And these hot foods are not good for those managing high blood pressure. Don't forget it. You need to take caution with foods like that. Foods that are hot. Another food is mint tea. Mint tea is a great digestive aid. And unfortunately or unfortunately, it's also not a good one when those managing high blood pressure, indulges in it frequently or in high amount. It's going to raise the blood pressure. It's important to take note of these things, because most of these foods are warming foods. They make the body to be warm. They have a kind of effect, like to raise your temperature. It's when that temperature is raised that the body begins to like an engine that you have just started, begins to digest the food. And so if you hear of such foods, if you're managing high blood pressure, because a lot of us, when we hear of something, we just rush into it. We don't ask of the other side. We just go and take it and start using it. And the next minute you start saying your blood pressure is back, the BP is rising. take note, most of the hot foods, not all of them, I said most of them, I already mentioned them. If you take them frequently in large amounts, your blood pressure is going to start to rise again, which is a negative effect of it. Every positive food, every healthy food or unhealthy food has its ugly side when you take it in excess. And the same thing applies to most of these spices. And so if you have finished eating your food, I mentioned alligator pepper, I mentioned cloves, I've mentioned mint, and a host of them. You can also take ginger, we already mentioned in an earlier video. But there are other foods like misto tea. It's a digestive aid. It's great for pre-diabetics. It's great for diabetics too. It helps to fight inflammations. You can take it. And then chamomile tea is another tea that aids digestion. I'm talking of both teas and spices that you need to have around you. During those times when you have overindulged or consumed a certain foods and you seem to be feeling uncomfortable, it happens to everyone, most of us, especially the older adult. You are just enjoying your food, getting on very well. And after, I've even heard of cases of people who finished eating and they couldn't get up. Yeah, they couldn't stand up from where they were sitting. Most of these foods were consumed in large amounts. Most of them were just high-calorie foods. Some of them with no nutrition, no good nutrition in them. I've had not one case, not two cases. People were just normal eating. After eating food, they could not stand up from the seat. It's because of cases like that. And these spices and tips I'm mentioning in part 1 and 2 of this video is these ones you should keep around in case you are feeling like that, or you have someone around you. You can start chewing. If you notice that feeling, you can start chewing your cloves or make your ginger tea to start working on the food, to start melting it, to start dissolving it before it turns to stroke. That's exactly what we are saying. Don't say I'm too young, I'm the young boy. It happens to everyone. All the adults are at risk of it. When you consume something too much, it could be sugar, it could be carbohydrates, it could be protein, it could be fat, it could be any food. That's exactly the point we are saying. So don't say because it's a healthy food, it's not going to do you anything, you're just going to enjoy yourself. Yes, we've made such mistakes, and that's why I'm telling you, you don't need to make it. Or there is a risk of, an accident, just happening because we took such foods in excess. And before you start calling it a disease or giving it a name, start taking the spices. You can make your ginger tea, you can make your mint tea, as I just mentioned now. Misto tea. These are inflammation fighting foods. I'm not talking about the caffeinated teas. I'm not talking about the coffee. Coffee is in it, but I don't want to talk about coffee. We know that coffee also, real coffee, not with milk, not 3-in-1 coffee. Real coffee, black coffee, is also a digestive aid. We know that. If you need to take it, if you don't have any issue, you can also take a little of it. To speed the digestion and relieve your body of the load and the stress. It's a stress. It gives us stress, especially towards the evening. And so these are the foods and spices. There are a lot of them, but these are just a few of them that you need to keep handy in case you have consumed those foods and you need to get out of it quickly before they cause problem for us.